Welcome to Nirmaya Care, where health meets understanding. This video was originally published on nirmayacare.com. For an uncensored, ad-free version of this video and other health education content, visit nirmayacare.com.
Ever been on a trip, totally excited for the destination, only to have the whole thing derailed by that awful, queasy feeling? Yep, you're not alone. Today, we're going to dive into the surprisingly complex world of motion sickness, and you'll see it's not really a stomach problem, it's more like a silent argument happening right inside your head.
Oh, we all know that feeling, right? You're just trying to chill out, maybe scroll on your phone, and then it just creeps in. A little bit of unease that slowly builds until you just can't ignore it. It feels like you're trapped. But what's really going on is this fascinating disagreement between your senses.
So let's get right to it. The core of this whole thing is that motion sickness isn't a problem with your stomach, it's a problem with your brain. It's getting all these conflicting reports from its most trusted sources, and honestly, it just doesn't know what to believe.
The official name for this is sensory mismatch. See, your brain has a few key ways of knowing where you are in space, what your eyes see, what your inner ear's balance system feels, and what your muscles are telling it. Most of the time, they're all singing the same tune, but when you're traveling, that perfect harmony, well, it can fall apart.
And here is where the fight really starts. Imagine you're reading in a car. Your eyes are locked on the page, telling your brain, hey, we're totally still, everything's stable. But your inner ear, which feels every single turn and bump, is practically screaming, no, we are absolutely moving. This sensory argument is the real root of the problem.
So what happens when your brain gets these totally mixed signals? It kind of panics, it gets confused and starts hitting all the alarm bells. And that's where all those awful symptoms come from. The nausea, the dizziness, the cold sweats. It's basically your body's ancient response to a very modern puzzle.
And if you've ever felt this way, you might feel like you're the only one. But it turns out this internal argument is an incredibly common experience. So really, how many of us are in the same boat? Or, car?
Nearly half. That's right, 46% of passengers in cars have felt motion sick at some point. Just think about that. On an average road trip with 4 people, chances are 2 of you are not having a good time. It's this huge shared experience that we just don't talk about much.
Now, while pretty much anyone can get it, some groups are definitely more prone to this sensory confusion. Women, especially during pregnancy, often find they're more susceptible. Kids between 6 and 12 are also really vulnerable. And if you're someone who already deals with migraines or vertigo, your brain is probably just a bit more sensitive to these mixed signals to begin with.
Okay, so what are the actual situations that set the stage for this sensory war? Because if you can spot the triggers, you've got a much better shot at preventing the battle in the first place.
The triggers usually fall into a few main buckets. You've got your classic mixed signals like reading or staring at your phone. Then there are strong movements, think bumpy roads or choppy waves, that just overwhelm your inner ear. And here's a weird one. Even just visual triggers like video games or VR can do it. And of course, don't forget about your own body. If you're tired, dehydrated, or anxious, you're way more likely to feel sick.
All right, enough about the problem. Let's talk about some solutions. The great news is you are not powerless here. There are some really simple, effective things you can do to help your brain win this argument before it even gets started.
Your first line of defense is just about where you put yourself. In a car, grab that front seat. It lets your eyes see the same motion your body is feeling. Staring at the horizon is the key. On a boat, the middle is the most stable spot. And even just reclining your head a bit can help calm down that super-sensitive inner ear.
Next up, a few small changes in your behavior can make a massive difference. Seriously, put the book or the phone away. Try to have a light meal before you go, and definitely skip things like alcohol or caffeine that can make you more sensitive. Even something as simple as focusing on slow, deep breaths can help keep the symptoms at bay.
But okay, what if you do all that and you still start to feel that queasy feeling creep in? Don't panic. There are a few go-to quick fixes you can try for some relief right in the moment.
First, let's talk about 2 classic natural remedies. Ginger and peppermint have been used forever to help with nausea. So whether you try a tea, a hard candy, or even a supplement, a lot of people swear they help take the edge off.
Here's another option for you: acupressure bands. They're these simple little wristbands that put a steady pressure on a point on your inner wrist. The idea is that this physical pressure helps to interrupt the nausea signals that are being sent up to your brain.
And please never ever underestimate the power of this one. Just rolling down a window and getting a blast of cool, fresh air can give you immediate relief. It helps break that cycle of feeling hot and trapped.
So, we've talked a lot about the physical side of things, but there is a really important emotional side to this that often gets completely ignored. For people who deal with this all the time, the problem is so much bigger than just feeling sick.
This quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. Motion sickness is a real and valid condition, not your personal shortcoming. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's not something you can just get over. It is a real physical response, and just accepting that is a huge first step. You know, after you've had a few really bad experiences, the anxiety about getting sick can become even worse than the sickness itself. You start to dread ruining the trip for everyone else. And that's where a little empathy from your friends and family can be so powerful. A bit of planning and understanding can really transform the whole experience. In the end, travel is supposed to be a shared experience. And by understanding this silent argument that's happening inside someone's head, we can do a lot more than just treat symptoms. We can actually change the whole emotional feel of a trip. So it leaves us with a final thought to chew on. How can we all make the journey itself just as good as the destination?